Hello, today we'll take a look at this question of what is a biblical kiss. We go to the Song of Songs to start with in chapter 1, verse 2, where the bride is speaking and says, "May he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is sweeter than wine." And this is the bride speaking to the groom, or the church speaking to Christ. And this gives us an idea of the intimacy between Christ and the church and the believer, which is a great blessing. And so we'll take a look a little bit at this idea of a kiss in the Bible. In Proverbs, it says, "One who gives a right answer kisses the lips." So obviously, when we think of a kiss, our first notion might be that of a romantic kiss like we saw in Song of Songs. But in the Bible, the kiss is used to convey or communicate something much more important and even, I would argue, more intimate than romance in terms of an intimacy or closeness. In Ezekiel, we see how this same Hebrew word can be translated differently into English. In Ezekiel 3:13, it says, "And I heard the sound of the wings of the living beings touching one another, and the sound of the wheels beside them, even a great rumbling sound." And so here, the word for kiss is where it says touching one another. And we use kiss in the same way in English, where something can kiss or slightly touch something else. It kisses off of something when you throw and make contact with something, like in basketball. So it's interestingly used in the same way here to convey two things touching or coming together. In Psalm 78, verse 9, it says, "The sons of Ephraim were archers equipped with bows, yet they turned back on the day of battle." And here again, it's the same word expressed in English as equipped. So it's unsure whether it's conveying the idea of equipping with a bow or drawing the bow. The idea of drawing the bow may make more sense because that almost has a similar feel to the way we pucker up if we're to kiss one another. The idea of drawing back the bow and what happens with our lips when we kiss someone. Now, most relevantly, the idea of a kiss also conveys the idea of either worship or submission. Now we see this in 1 Kings 19:18 as it's expressed as idolatry. Here the Lord speaking to Elijah says, "Yet I will leave 7,000 in Israel, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him." So idol worship is in the heart, this idea of submitting, of becoming intimate or close to the idea of the idol, or literally kissing idols. We see that today with idol worship as well, where idols are venerated, kissed, given affection, physical affection, to convey the intimacy of the soul or the spirit with that object as well. Job speaks about this in Job 31:27 by saying, "And my heart was secretly enticed, and my hand threw a kiss from my mouth." And so there's this idea of the kiss conveying something from the heart being given to something specifically. For me, one of the most interesting verses comes from Psalm 2:12 that says, "Kiss the Son, that he not be angry, and you perish on the way. For his wrath may be kindled quickly. How blessed are those who take refuge in him." This idea of kissing the Son, being Christ, obviously is not literal, but it's the idea of submission, of intimacy, of worship of Christ as God and not an idol. Lastly, throughout the Old Testament, we see the idea of a kiss being a holy kiss or a kiss of love. That is agape love, brotherly love. These types of loves apart from the obvious romantic love. And I just find it very interesting that in our culture, the kiss has been relegated to the idea of romantic love. But yet, obviously, love between family members, friends, things of that nature are meant to be conveyed through a kiss as well. And so, Paul often mentioned this: greet one another with a holy kiss. And this is meant to convey, again, an intimacy, a submission to Christ, but a submission to one another as well, and this love that exists in God's family. Lastly, 1 Peter 5:14 says, "Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace be to you all who are in Christ." And so this is a good point for us to reflect on, to understand this intimacy that's meant for the body and the submission of our hearts as we kiss, submitting to Christ Himself and have a great intimacy with Him as well. Take care.